goes to the actual gas company that's providing, but they get all of your information. And anyhow, the district attorney has Dan Burkhalter available for speaking engagements around the community, around St. Landry Parish. So if you'd like to know more about how you can protect yourself, please contact Dan over at the district attorney's office here in town, and he'll set up a meeting for you. And of course, Dan recently had a very important person over at his home. I was invited, and I wanted to talk about it and show you the copy of the book, but we were running at the last minute. So we're going to get early this time, and I have to be careful of how I hold this book because it's green, and we're going to put it down, and it's Smiley, A Laughing Matter, and this is a book by Smiley Anders, and the green does not
it makes our
work
computer go
well.
crazy.
The book is very, very...
Welcome back, yes, hello, by the way.
Very, very cute, and it's got some interesting little...
stories and jokes?
Well, it starts off by his early days as a young child in Natchez, Mississippi. And he was raised they had to kind of dress up, and he moved to Baton Rouge when he was in, I guess, the middle grades. And the school he went to, they were all wearing blue jeans and all, and he just didn't fit in at all. And he goes into kind of like when I moved from Plaisance to Opelousas, I had a batting eye habit. I had a girl's name, and I could hardly speak English. And
a lot of strikes.
A lot of strikes, but it made me, they picked at me enough about all three of them that they made me who I am today. I mean, I credit
you had to toughen up.
I had to toughen up or I wouldn't have made it. And Smiley goes on, and then most of the book is about little articles that are sent to him, and he has a column that he writes for the Morning Advocate. He's done this for years. Every day in the Morning Advocate, very interesting, and
stories
and jokes and all
from people all over the state and the
Dan
world.
Burkhalter, Dr. George Bourgeois, several others. Lafayette has a number of people that send in regularly, and he picks them now and then. Well, Dan and Linda had the opportunity, of course, to visit with him, and I would like to go and take him out to lunch and get to meet him because he seems very, very interesting. And one of the little stories that, and I'm having to kind of hide this book because
the green
doesn't show. And one of the little stories was, it goes like this. Jack Grimion, you remember he was the Attorney General for the state of Louisiana, and as the story goes, what I used to hear was if you wanted to hide something from him, you'd put it in a law book. I mean, that...
oh, that's terrible.
That's kind of terrible. I think that was his friends that said that. But Jack Grimion tells this story about this elderly Cajun gentleman who was very sick and would only eat his wife's fine gumbo. He told his grandson, Etienne, go downstairs and ask your grandma to fix me some more gumbo. Etienne shortly came back to the old man's bedside and told him, I'm sorry, but Grandma says she's saving the gumbo for the wake.
That's not a good sign.
Not too good, but it's full of little stories like this, and I'm sure you can get this book at Barnes & Noble.
I'm sure you can. Barnes & Noble in the Louisiana section, they like to carry a lot of books that are local interest.
Yes, very, very interesting book, and I'm looking forward to the lunch, and I'll pay it, Dan, and Smiley, if you happen to be watching it. Hopefully Smiley is watching it, or he can check on our...
on the internet. Watch it on the internet.
Watch it on the internet, but on the... archived
version. There you go.
There you go.
LHC Group, all your home health care needs.
Yeah, you better get some of
I
our
gotta
good
get them
sponsors.
in. You know, don't worry about me. I'm gonna take care of you. LHC Group, all your home health care needs. They'll help you with the equipment, with the people you need, from the nursing to the therapists, the special beds, the oxygen equipment, the maybe the button to press to call for help if you're worried about falling and slipping. They've got all that type of equipment as well. LHC Group also has the Health and Wellness Center here on Heather Drive that can help you if you're just trying to keep yourself in shape, keep working out, keep going well. They've also got hospice care. They've got palliative care locations throughout the United States. Louisiana Healthcare group all about helping people.
I had an opportunity prior to going on the air. I spoke to Chris Hebert, and of course, I'm leading up to the fundraiser that a group of Ross Hebert, her son, who is having to undergo some very expensive medical care these days from an incident that took place around, I guess, probably goes back to around the Christmas holidays.
Right.
And there was a softball
Tournament.
co-ed tournament was going to be held last weekend, but due to the forecast of bad weather, which didn't develop, but you couldn't, you
It
can't
looked bad.
go. It looked real bad according to all the forecasts we were getting. Well, they've rescheduled it, and it's going to be scheduled now for June 2nd and 3rd, if you want to mark that down. And I also told Chris that I've got some checks for this event, so need to get together, or
When
she
we
can
when
stop
we get
by.
that date, we'll pass it back on to you folks.
Well, no, we got the date.
We do,
June
was it?
2nd
Okay.
and 3rd.
2nd and
June
3rd.
2nd
That's
and
right.
3rd.
Okay, you got it.
And it's a co-ed, and of course,
All right.
it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a family day is what it's all intended about. And of course, they fun jumps, and they're going to have food to sell and drinks and libation, beer. They're going to have plenty of beer available. And of course, Tisha, the wife, Ross's wife,
Right.
just had a baby boy, another baby boy, and have one that's going to be 15 in July. So really,
They need help.
They need help.
your help.
They need your help.
How about Friday night? We got Warren Storm, Willie T, and Cypress in downtown Opelousas. They're going to play. Of course, a lot of people know about that whole band. They've been around for years and years, all individually and together, I guess, since the early 80s. If you go by, I believe it's over at the Courthouse Square. That's on the 18th. Music's going to start about 6 p.m. Don't bring your ice chest. There'll be plenty of things going on there that you can buy. And the vegetable this week will be tomatoes that they'll be featuring for the farmers market.
Okay, we still have, a few more minutes
Yep.
before we have to take a break and at halftime. And one was a person who died recently was Deacon John B. Thibodeau. Shows from Lawtell. He used to live between Lawtell and Church Point on Highway 35, if I recall correctly. He was 84 years old, and I remember that he was one of the first Catholic deacons in our community. A couple that may have been just before him was Deacon John Miller, who is still very much alive and assisting at St. Landry Catholic Church here.
Correct.
And another one that was a deacon at St. Landry Catholic Church who is now deceased was Mr. Canatella, Deacon Canatella from the Melville area. So John did for many, many years assisted, and I remember very, very well. We want to offer our deepest sympathies. And of course, a person that had gotten known well in the last year and a half or 2 years is one of the swamp people. And we're talking about Mitchell Gist, G-U-I-S.
I think Geist is how they say it, Geist.
Geist. And he had an accident, or he possibly might have had a heart attack. They're not quite sure how he died, but he did die, and he was only 48 years old.
One of those two brothers on Swamp People, I guess, is how he's well known.
Well known, that is correct. And then Peter Fuller, who was the owner of one of the horses that had won the Kentucky Derby, he was known to a number of people locally. I know Lee Young, good morning Lee and Shirley, over at Indian Hills Country Club. Lee had trained some horses for Mr. Peter Fuller. And Peter Fuller was a very wealthy man, and he also was the owner of the property where Copper Crown is now located on Highway 182, and bought that property, if I recall correctly, from the DeZosh family.
Really?
And over the years, it's been a continuous location for the horse industry in different forms. Stallion Station now, of course, Copper Crown has a large
And it probably goes way back, I
Yeah,
guess. huh?
it's
Almost
pretty
to the
good size,
interstate.
pretty good size property. And anyhow, and then another one would be Eleanor Stute Philippi, and she was born in Homer, Homer, Louisiana, and her connection to Opelousas is her daughter Julie Philippi Edwards, and of course is the wife of Rex Edwards of Opelousas, who many of us know, and he and his family own or owners of Bellevue Memorial
Correct.
Burial.
There you go.
Memorial Gardens, I think is the name of it.
I think so.
So our deepest sympathies there.
How about another sponsor? Let's squeeze in Steamboat Warehouse. Get mom away from the smell of her own cooking. If you're going to go try some of those good St. Leonard Parish fresh tomatoes, I'm sure the Steamboat Warehouse will have some nice dishes with them in them, from a salad to cooked in some kind of nice dish. Fresh Louisiana seafood, from the shrimp right now. The crabs are running. My brother-in-law told me he went down to Rockefeller and spent 2 hours getting the limit already. So good, fresh Louisiana seafood is out there. Go by the Steamboat Warehouse. Great Angus steak, your adult libation out on the beautiful wharf there overlooking Bayou Catawba.
Vicky met her longtime friend, Miss Lily. Lily and Vicky and about 3 or 4 other young ladies were they were together when they met me over at the Bike Barn about 5 years ago,
Right.
when Mr. Chris Dodge was the owner. No, Cy Dodge was the owner. Now the
Correct, now it's
son,
Chris.
owns Bike Barn on I-49, and that looks like we have a few more seconds.
We do.
Lily is now living in the Youngsville area, and Vicky was telling me that during that visit she learned that one of her daughters has recently finished college. She's now, I think, an attorney, and another one is finishing also in some specialty college
Excellent.
work, and very happy for that. Lily, haven't seen you in a long time. Give us a call, and we'll have some libation. Not me, but you all.
That's
can.
right. You have a Diet Coke.
That's
We're
right.
down to the end of the first half of the show. We got KSLO and TV. Folks, we're going to see all of you on the other side of 3 with more photos and stories.
We have quite a few photos. I'm sorry we didn't get to them earlier.